My impact is very small. But I think it's a drop in the sea, or it's a brick on the wall. But if the human beings are not able to do that, we don't go anywhere. And I think everything has been built by little bricks by little bricks.
Welcome to reVyven, where environmental ideas come to life. At reVyven, we aim to connect, learn, and make a difference.
Today we come to you from the Woonwerk location in Basel, where we're meeting with the founder, Dorothée. We had a tour of the plant, and we're talking about upcycling soap to have purpose and meaning for those who need it the most.
Yes, so thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you.
I'm Dorothée Schisser. Schisser is my Swiss name. I'm French originally. My parents' name is Perrouzet, so it's really French.
Wow. Okay, fantastic. To get started today, Dorothée, would you tell us a bit about yourself, maybe a bit about what you did before you got into the SapoCycle world?
Oh yes, I don't want to spend too much time because I'm not so young.
Yeah, it's okay.
I had several professional lives before. I studied in Paris political sciences, and then I started to work in the marketing, advertising industry for years, but quite in a lot of countries in the United States, in England, in France. So yes, I went very far away. I went to the islands of Tahiti for 2 years, just for the pleasure and some jobs, and there I met my husband. So and then we came back, and he's working in the hospitality industry, which is important for SapoCycle afterwards in the story. And then I changed a bit my career. I worked as a journalist for a few years because we were living in Africa, in Cameroon, and then in France, and I worked for the French television, And when we arrived in Basel, so it's like nearly 30 years ago, as I didn't speak a word of German, so I had to also to change a bit my directions, and I started to work for the University of Basel in new technology, in digital thinking, and then I change again. I worked in the art world, for Art Basel at the beginning, but then for a very big international company, which is specialized in communication in art. Mm-hmm. So there I was. So that was my last really 7-10 years of working in a completely another industry. Yeah. And then I was a bit bored with this world of art, which I love art, but people working in that are not so easy. And I wanted to do something with much more meanings for me. And to give back also, maybe for what I've got, so to give back. As my husband is in the hospitality industry, we discussed a lot about that.
And that's how you came up with the concept of SapoCycle.
That's how I came up with the concept, and because talking with him especially about waste management in the hospitality industry, in the hotels, it's a very complex, and the more you are in the luxury segment, the more difficult it is. And yes, and a stupid question once I said, "Well, what do you do with the soaps?"
Yeah,
and he said, "But we throw them away." And for him, it was really very normal,
Yes.
We cannot keep them. So that's how it started in my mind. I think, okay, we lived in Africa, we live in a lot of different countries where we've seen that the access to hygiene is not so easy. There are some places where you throw away products which are nearly brand new, yes. And some places you don't have them. So why can't we do something to make these two worlds a bit working together?
Mm-hmm. And I think what you said is really important, where because we do something all the time, it takes a bit of thought to think, well, we could be doing this differently, or there is a better way. Instead of throwing away the soaps, then you decided you would start collecting them. Is that correct?
That's correct. But it's also, it needs, and it's always, I think, in all this process of circular economy or waste management, you have also that people know they have to do more work. Because for a cleaning lady in a hotel who has, depending on the hotel, between 15 and 20 minutes to clean the whole room, bathroom and everything, change the sheets and all that, just to do one more gesture, to take the soap and put it in a different basket or different, it's more work.
Yeah.
So you have to motivate the people for that, and they have to understand why they do it.
Mm-hmm. So you came up with the concept of SapoCycle, and can you talk us through from concept to where you are now? We just had a wonderful tour of your facility, and something we talked about while we were touring is it sounds so basic and so linear, but it's really quite complex what you're doing, and there's a lot of logistics involved. So can you talk to us about, you came up with this concept, but how you got started, how long it took to conceive the idea, and then where you are, like maybe today. So it might be a long story. But
that's a long story.
Yeah.
It's a 10-year story, more than nearly 12-year stories now. So when I started with this stupid question to my husband, I didn't know the impact of it. Mm-hmm. But then, I started to think over how we could do that. This idea of, really saving some soap which were going to be thrown out and keeping them and giving them to people who need. But of course, in the middle, you needed to do something with them, to clean them. At the beginning, I really didn't know. And of course, I wanted to have a pillar, which is in Switzerland, also very in Basel. Mm-hmm. And so that's why the idea of working with institution who works with disabled people. Mm-hmm. And when I came here, for explaining that in this room to the director at that time, and he said, I really don't understand a word of what you say, but we're going to do it.
Wow.
So that was great,
Yeah.
So we started with the lady that you met, which is Pia Tanner, which is the workshop manager. She's a very creative person, and she really, we gave her the job, and said, I don't know, but we're going to do it. And so really, it was like really try to work with and try different methods and try with kitchen machines, with different kind of things to clean the soap. And to transform them on new soap. Mm-hmm. And then we found out that we needed to have a soap machine. And so it happens that there is a company in Netherlands who is doing machines for disabled people, for disabled institutions. And they had one soap machine. Mm-hmm. So we went to this, and they said, wait, we cannot do recycled soap. We can do just online with flakes for new soaps. Mm-hmm. So that, again, we had to adapt the process. And then we had to adapt the process how to cut the soap in little pieces, then put it in powder. So every step was, a learning by doing process, which I really learned at the university in Basel in the interactive design thing. So I like this principle of learning by doing.
Yes.
And this is how we did it. And finally, what was the kitchen machine started to be more bigger machines, of course, of bigger kitchen machine. But they're still kitchen machine, but of course for industrial kitchen. Mm-hmm. And this is how the process started. It took us 1 year around to create this process. We had the help of the Fachhochschule Nordwestschweiz. Mm-hmm. They have a department called Ecopreneurship, and they had 2 students working with us, and one specially to adapt a process to disabled people. Mm-hmm. And he really had to cut all this process of recycling soap, as you could imagine it as in industry, and to adapt it to very simple gestures, very safe gestures that people with disabilities can do. So we were really very helped with that study. And so it took us more or less 1 year to be able to do that, and to find out also if, of course, we don't distribute the soap ourselves to the people in need. We work with institutions who are their jobs and their abilities to do that. And we had first to know if they were interested, of course, to receive soaps. And this is how it took a few months to start.
Wow. And so I know the organization SapoCycle has 3 pillars. Is that correct, that you really focus on? Do you want to tell us what those pillars are? I think it's that would be really helpful for us.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And from the beginning, and it's also in the aims of the foundation itself. So it means we have 3 pillars, and has to stay. These 3 pillars have to stay over whatever our evolution or development is going. The first one is ecological, meaning that, of course, we collect the used soaps, and instead of being incinerated, they are reused. So that's the first thing. The second pillar is social. It's giving a job to people with disabilities, and an interesting job. As I mentioned downstairs, for example, Angelo, who were there today, that's 10 years he's working on that. He's very proud because now he can manage a machine absolutely alone. He can do everything. He can see if something is not working. And he has a very strong handicap, but is really perfect, and he loved doing that, and he's not the only one. There's a lot of them. They're really, and it was a challenge 10 years after to think that some of them are the same than at the beginning, meaning for them it's still interesting to work.
Yes.
It's still a nice job. And also it's very important for them because not only they have a job that they like because it's a product from beginning to an end, which is not always the kind of job they get in this kind of institution, but also it's a job where they know that they are helping people which are in a worse status than they are. And they are used normally to be the last ones in the society. And then suddenly they are doing something for people. So that's very important for themselves also. They can be proud. And of course, we had also a lot of press, we had television, we had some journalism, and for them they are really very, very proud of that.
It's so nice.
It's really nice. So that's the second pillar. And the third pillar is more the solidarity pillar, which is meaning we want to help people to improve their hygiene conditions. At the beginning of the program, really, we were very much focused in maybe trying to send the soap in Africa, where people were really, there is a lack of hygiene products, and there's millions or hundreds of thousands children dying every year of diseases that could be avoided if they had access to soap and water. But we found out that also because of our first pillar, ecological, we didn't want to send the soap too far because soap is not a very complex product to produce, so they could be produced in this country itself. So we want to stay in Switzerland, that soap don't travel too much and don't produce too much CO2.
Well, that makes sense. Something that was really evident when we toured the workshop was that everyone had their station, their job, and they were very engaged in it and very friendly. Like it has a really nice feel, the workshop, which is fantastic. And so you've been in production for over 10 years, you said.
Yes, exactly.
Yes, that's incredible. And something I'd like to touch on, and this is a little bit of a segue, is that it sounded like you made a change in your career. And I always find this really beautiful when you see this, when people change their career, but they go into something that feels very meaningful and has a lot of purpose. And that was evident just speaking to you. But can you talk to that how this feels now when you wake up and you come to the workshops and you meet people that you've known now for 10 years? How is that different than what you did before?
Well, I think it's having a meaning in what you do. I mean, of course, in all the jobs I had before, I had a lot of passion. I was some kind of passionate person, so I had a passion. I wanted to perform, to be good, to do my job perfectly, and in communication it's always also to communicate and try to find more. Yes, but I think this is different when sometimes you do something that you really deeply think that you can add a little brick to the wall, or a drop in the sea, I don't know what, but but this is your drop, that's your brick, and that's something, it's meaningful for you, and I think that's the thing which is very rewarding also, and you feel self-confidence of what you do and why you do it.
Yeah, yeah. It seems like it gives you, like you said, purpose for why you come in every day. And yeah, it's a lovely project for sure. When we were walking through, again, the workshop, it looks like it's not only logistically intensive, because Connie was explaining to us that the hotels now, because they're working on their carbon footprint and reducing that, and they want to be more green, so to say, that you have to track how much kilos of bar soap that they're giving to you. But it also seems like it could be a roughly expensive endeavor to keep going. So how do you fund the whole project? How does that happen for you?
Yeah, that is always, of course, a big challenge. So now the hotels are paying a membership. At the beginning, we wanted to make it much higher because I have a husband, which is we had to put the price down. Yeah. So we are not so expensive. It's depending on the size of the hotel, how many rooms they have. Mm-hmm. It's a yearly membership, but that helps us first that at least for 30% of our budget. Then, which is very, very important, we have an amazing partner, which is our logistic partner, which is Plancer, who sponsor the whole transport of the boxes you've seen downstairs from the hotel when they are full, but they also clean the box and bring back the empty boxes to the hotels. Wow. So it's really very, very huge, and they are now it's not since the beginning, but let's say I would say 5 years. I would say that they are with us, and I thank them so much, because without them it would be amazing. Mm-hmm. So that's really really great. And of course the rest of the finance is mainly foundations, some programs like for example Swiss Laws help in Basel for helpers, or private person, or family offices, and we try to do every 3 years, I would say, kind of a charity event where we can collect. And also, we try to make the cost very, very low, because the costs are mainly here, von Werk, because we pay the kilo of recycled soap or liquid. We pay them for that. Mm-hmm. And then we have our internal cost, which mainly is Connie, my colleague, and that's all. We don't have, so we try to keep our costs very, very low.
Mm-hmm. And do you feel like you spend a great deal of your time on the funding side of it? Because without the funding, the operation would cease to exist. So does that take up a majority of your time? Or?
No, not anymore.
Okay,
but it took for a few years. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. It took me really, and it's really it's like a wave. Sometimes suddenly we have to really work a lot on. I have really to work a lot on that, and then we have a bit of some rest. Yeah. It's okay. the bank account is full, so now we can rest, and we can, and then it comes again. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But of course, it's an endless problem. That's why we're now thinking of developing some other direction that we can also finance this part more easily.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's really important to talk about, because, we even know as an environmental organization to find the financing is not always easy, and it's where a lot of entrepreneurs or individuals who are in this sector spend a great deal of their time because they want their organization or institution to keep going and to thrive, but that's such a big part of it. So that's really important. And I just wanted to circle back, because I neglected to ask you this, is that initially when you said you started, you were hoping to send your bar soaps to Africa, but you said environmentally speaking that is not always the greenest option for you. So where do you give your soaps now?
So now we give the soap for, I would say 80% of the soaps are given in Switzerland, and it's to different kind of organization. We have very big organization like Schweizer Tafel or Tischlein Deck Dish, or in the French part Karl, the Fondation Karl, which are really big organization who collect a lot of food, mainly food, but also hygiene products, and then redistribute them to smaller organizations on the spot. It's how they work. But we also give to small organizations in Basel mainly, in the region, because we don't take the transport cost in charge, so they have to take care of that. And we have 20% of our soaps are going abroad, but through Swiss organization. One is specifically working in the Greek islands for refugees. And another one is working in also, it's always at the border of Europe, so it means at the border of Croatia also. And a third one is an organization working in Madagascar, in very remote villages of Madagascar. But that really, and the idea is really that we don't send a soap like that. They just have either containers or big trucks, and we put a few boxes of soap in it, amongst other things. So for us, it's also reduce the carbon footprint. It's not like we're going to send the soap specifically somewhere.
And for years, you focused exclusively on bar soaps, but now you've grown to do liquid soaps. Is that correct?
Yes. So that was a constant that we made. That the hotels ask us more and more. Do you take also the liquids? Of course, the liquids are mainly these very little bottles of shampoos, liquid soap, shower gel or conditioner. And so we say, okay, this is not a trend that's going to stay because it's going to disappear because of different things. And for example, in Europe, there is now really a European law against single-use plastic that will have to disappear. And from that, also this little single dose. But we say, okay, let's do shorter program. We'll do that the time it works, and then we'll stop if there is no more. But for the moment, it's working very, very, very well in Switzerland. We have a lot of them, and so we collect all these little products, like they call that rinseable, because we don't, for example, we don't take all the creams because it's more dangerous on the bacteriological point of view. So everything which is rinseable, and so we have. It's at the beginning we thought, oh, it's very easy. We empty them, we put them in another bottle. It's very easy, but it's not so easy because we receive, of course, kilos of these which are completely mixed. So then you have to have some people here who can separate the shower gel, the shampoo, the conditioner. So it means if the little dose are different colors, it's great. But if it's just written, we need to have people who can read. And that's also a training for them, which is not bad. I mean, also they try here to make really always training for them, for mental training. So we have someone to do that. And then from that, we have to empty them. But to empty them, you have to disinfect, color the opening of the thing, because liquid is much more dangerous than hard soap. Hard soap cannot have any bacteria, okay? A hard soap cannot. It's like the way soap is made makes that it reject viruses and bacteria. Okay, but liquid, because there is water, and water can be contaminated, liquid is much more dangerous. So they have to really disinfect the thing, and then they empty. So we found a way to empty them. And then we had to refill. And how do we refill? And so that's how we found this idea, not to use again new plastic, because why? So we said, what kind of plastic can we use? And we found that the easiest way, the easiest thing that we could use, which is not too complicated to wash or to rinse or whatever, are hydroalcoholic gel bottles, because they are sterile. Completely. So we contacted the hospital in Basel and said, okay, what do you do with these bottles when they're empty, or they throw it away with the plastic recycling company? But so we said, okay, we keep them, we take them. So now my colleague Connie is doing a round tour for the hospital in Basel and collect all these plastic bottles. And so they don't need to be disinfected because it's hydroalcoholic gel. And so we just dry them, and then we refill with our product. It's very interesting because we have a ratio. What we are interested is the liquid, not the plastic. The plastic goes to recycling also. But we have a ratio between the plastic and the liquid of 1 liter of saved liquid for 1 kilo of plastic. It's huge.
Yes.
It's huge. And of course, now hotels are moving more and more to this pumps dispenser because for them it's also economically much more interesting, but also ecologically because there are less plastic and more, of course. But we cannot take them. These ones, because most of them are nearly empty. Of course, the producer also have made a lot of progress, and they have now a system that makes the bottle is nearly empty. So we would have a ratio which would go completely up. So we don't take this dispenser. So maybe this kind of this part of the job will disappear one day.
Yeah, but it was a really nice visual. There was a table in the workshop that had all the liquid products lined up. And you said to us this would all have been trash. And so it's really...
The soap and the bottles.
The soap and the bottles, which is a lot of trash. So it was a really nice visual for us to see how much you were able to save at SapoCycle and then redistribute. That's really very powerful as a visual. But when you distribute the liquid soaps, they're going to the same organizations as the bar soaps?
Yes, exactly.
Okay,
same organization. And they're very happy because normally they don't receive from the big producer, big companies or the Coop or the Migros. They receive a lot of food, but not so much hygiene product. So sometimes shower gel, soap they have, but shampoo very little, and conditioner is luxury.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when you see all these African women, Syrian women, or this woman with this amazing hair, amazing, when they can have really conditioner, they are so happy because it's not something that they receive normally.
And so if I'm correct, you participate with primarily luxury hotels in Switzerland and in Germany, and you have another country that you're currently working with.
France.
In France, yeah.
So we started in France 5 years ago.
Okay.
Mainly at the beginning because the Accor Hotel Group, they said, oh, that's great, we support you. Not financially, they support us, communication, to start in Switzerland, which they help us a lot, I have to say. And then I say, oh, you have to do that in France and Germany. So, oh la la. It's a lot. So how long it took to put all that, and say, okay, but why not in France? So we started in France. We reproduce exactly the same program for the hard soap, not for the liquid, in Colmar, so not far from here. And so we are working also with an institution working with disabled people, and we have exactly the same process. The only thing is that we distribute all the soaps in the region only, not even because there's so much need in France. All the soaps are going in Alsace. So it's quite amazing.
Yeah.
And then now we just started in Germany 2 months ago. So that's really brand new in Munich, and with the workshop is in Nuremberg.
Okay, so you have a workshop in each country that you're collecting soaps from,
Again, because we don't want to have... We have the idea that it's the hotel of the country, the recycling workshop in the country, and also the distribution in the country, at least for more than 80 or 90%, Yeah,
it's a very local idea, which is really nice.
Yeah.
And how many hotels are you working with roughly now?
In Switzerland, we are more or less 100 hotels, and in France, we are nearly 150 now.
Oh.
Yes, and France is growing very well. Now it's 5 years, but it's really, we have a lot of little chains in France, very small chains of 5 hotels and with the same owner. And when they started with one, they say, okay, all we do is all our hotels are participating, so that's really great. And Germany, it's really brand new, so maybe there are 10 hotels for the moment.
But that's fantastic. And how does a hotel find out about you? How do they start being part of this process? How does that work? Is it easy for them?
It's very easy, and it's very interesting because it's mainly word to mouth. It works either by internet research, because suddenly the gouvernante or the procurement manager say, I'm fed up of throwing all that away. How does it exist? Soap recycling. They Google and they find us.
That's
so
great.
That's the first thing. Second thing, they have in mainly most countries, and especially in France and Switzerland too, and Germany, they have also professional organization. For example, all the governments, they have association. And they meet every 3 months or every 6 months, and they talk about their problematics, whatever they are. And suddenly one of the problematic is soap. So, and because all the cleaning ladies, mainly ladies, are also originated from countries where access to hygiene is not so easy, they are very sensible to that. So that's a thing that they're really happy to do. That's mainly that. And of course, now we are very active on the social media. But I don't know if hotels are coming through this. We also have more and more contact with the soap producers, which will are the B2B producers, will have the soap for the hotels. A few companies in Europe, and this they are very happy because for them, for their CSR, for their communication, to say they have a solution. So they also talk about us to their hotels.
Yeah. Yeah, it's certainly a nice process, and it's when we talk about circularity, it really keeps the soap in the circle until it's finished, and it creates a new life for it, which is really, I think it's a really beautiful model. And do you know roughly how many kilos of soap you have collected to date?
Yes, we are 48 tons. France and Switzerland, 48 tons in 10 years for Switzerland, 5 years in France. So it's more or less, I think we have 18 tons in France in 5 years and 30 tons 20 tons in Switzerland, more or less, in 10 years. So it's quite a lot, 20,000 kilos, when you see that the soaps are more or less between 30 and 40 grams. So we didn't calculate how many soaps, but we're not far from the million, I think.
Wow. And so all of that soap would have been incinerated or thrown in the garbage?
Yes, exactly. And producing, because when you incinerate soap, 1 kilo of soap produces more or less the same quantity of CO2 than 1 liter of petrol. So it's a lot.
Wow.
Yeah. And our process, because it has been also studied by students of the Fachhochschule, our process uses only 10% of this amount. So we save 90% of the CO2.
That's fantastic. It's really
and this is also, I guess, brought back to the hotels in terms of what their saving is or what their reduction is for their benefit.
Hotels are more and more interested in that. At the beginning, they were not so interested, but now because of these green labels, they have to. So they have to give these numbers, and they are very happy to. We give them, of course, like certificate with numbers, and not only the numbers of kilo they saved, but also the CO2 they saved, but also how many kilos of soap, how many bars of soap that gave to people in need, and that also for them it's very important.
It's certainly an incentive for them to be part of the program.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Now I have a few questions for you on what you're hoping or how you envision the future of the organization. Are you hoping to keep growing? Do you feel like you're at a good point right now? What are your goals?
Well, there are several goals. I mean, I always want to go to do something new because I cannot stay calm.
So nice. It's so nice.
So I need to have projects. So there are several projects. One is first because there was a lot of demands from hotels in other countries. So maybe to expand in other countries. We now, with Germany, we started, and that was great because we had a corporate volunteering from Roche in Basel that had someone worked for us or with us for 6 months, and that we created. We had to find out how we can expand without it cost too much money, of course, but also time and workforce. We are small and we want to stay small. And we found out there's this system which is not known at all in Europe, but it comes mainly from Canada, I think. It's called social franchise. So it's the principle of the franchise. So it's replicating, but like a franchise is someone else taking care of the program in another country.
Yeah.
But of course, there is no money exchange. It's not like a commercial franchise, but it's more like a know-how exchange. It's really like we give all the tools, all the process, all the know-how, everything, all the training with Pierre going in the country, just training the teams over there. And we are very next to the people, but it's their program. So it means that they are their team, that they pay their own team, and that they find their own financing. That is very important because we found out with the experience for Switzerland and France, and though I am both nationalities, it's quite difficult to get in the process of financing in two different countries because it's completely different. The culture is different. The culture of NGOs is different. The culture. So the more country you work with, the more it's going to be difficult. So that's why we want to go on with this social franchising system. And so we have our first franchise is now in Germany. And so we want maybe to develop in other countries in Europe. And certainly we want to go to Portugal, to Spain, or to Italy, depending, of course, if we find some interested people who have the same passion and the same also interest into social development in their country. So that is the first direction of development.
Yeah.
And the second one is a bit different. It's also made on. We started on the principle that maybe it could happen that we have less and less soap that we are serving from hotels because hotels are more and more into this pumps or dispenser system, which will be also more and more technical and will go directly to plastic recycling and not through us. So, and if we lose that, so we're going to lose our whole program. So what we are going to do that. And the idea was to go directly to the soap producer. Because soap producer, they have waste. And this waste is very difficult to manage. They have two different things. The first, there are some products that they don't sell for either reason, so that they can give away. They can give to the same organization we give also our soap, or they can also in some countries like already France, Germany, and now I think I've heard it's coming to Switzerland to the hard discounter. So they sell their own product on a very, very low price. That's more and more. But that's not the part we are interested in. The part we're interested in is with the soap, which is impossible to sell for different reasons. Either because they have batches, and when you work with batches, industrial produce system makes that you have to empty. There's some rest in the batch that you cannot put in the recipients to sell. So this batch, what happens with that? And the other waste is products have been already packaged, but the packaging is wrong. The filling is not good because sometimes the machine is not well managed or whatever, or the color is a bit different, that should be, or the perfumes. Still product good to use, very important, but that they cannot sell. And this product we are interested in.
Yeah.
And so we are now working to get an InnoSwiss check, from the InnoSwiss to get a check to work again with the Fachhochschule to be able to find out what we can do with these products. And our idea would be to transform it in cleaning products, washing powder, floor cleaning products, or all usage cleaning products. And that would be made also here. So we want that done with very simple additives, not dangerous, simple, cheap additives. So we would like to work with the Fachhochschule for that. And these products will be partly distributed again for free to the same institution. But we would like maybe to sell some of this product. And if we sell some of this product, local communities, schools, whatever association, on a cheaper price than the market price, that could finance the SapoCycle soap distribution.
I have to say, it's very evident speaking to you that you're constantly innovating and pivoting and coming up with new ideas, which I find so refreshing. It's so nice. And it sounds like your education that you went through in Paris essentially didn't prepare you for much of what you're doing now. It sounds...
Not at all.
And the reason I bring that up is not to say anything negative about your education, but it's to say that sometimes we put ourselves in boxes. Oh, well, I'm not trained in that, or I don't have an education in that, or my formal schooling isn't this. But you have learned so much by doing. I mean, I'm sure before you started this, maybe you never imagined that this is where your life would lead. But it's very clear that when we come into this space and we see the people working with you, that what you've created was nothing you were trained in. That you've really learned by doing. And you said it took over a year to figure out how to use the machines and how to set this up and how to process the soap. And the older I get, I think that's really important for people to remember, is that there's so much to be gained by just starting a process and not saying, I don't know how to do this, I can't do this. But you overcame all those barriers that I'm sure that you had.
Yes, and also I think you have to always to start small.
Yeah.
You start small, and you get bigger by nature. Just doing it becomes bigger.
Yeah.
If I would have said, okay, we take all the liquid and the hard soap, and we're going to do that in whole, I don't know. No, we thought, okay, at the beginning, I thought we working on maybe 10% on that, and getting again with my job in the art world. So I think you have to let yourself also being impressed by the facts, by what it happens, and just not say, okay, this happened this way, so we have to find a solution. And there's always a solution. There's no problem. There are solutions. I always think that.
Yeah. And I think being an entrepreneur, which you clearly are, there's a lot of ups and downs because you're doing everything initially on your own. You're working in finance and you're working in hiring and you're figuring everything out. How do you navigate and deal with the highs and the lows that are just part of the system and part of the process?
There's no lows.
No? It's so nice.
No, really? Okay, sometimes it's not exactly how it should be, but it's no lows. For me, it's really always like when there's something not working, it's meaning that you have to rebound somewhere else. If this bouncing doesn't work here, the bouncing will work somewhere else. And it's always a challenge. Okay, we don't do this way. Okay, let's do it this other way. Now, I think it's always more exciting, even if it's a bit low.
Yeah, that's true. And so then maybe this is where we kind of finish off today before we'll give you a quick lightning round. How would you then define success? What does that look like to you, or what does that mean to you?
Success, I think it's being happy with what you do. Being happy, getting up in the morning, being happy of going to work or doing what you have to do, is not having nightmares at night. No. Yeah. And also is to feeling also the joy of the others. And this is also very important for me. We have you met Connie, who is working with me in Switzerland, but we have 2 persons in France and 2 in Germany now. And we always have fun. We are happy to work together. They are all very, very good mood all together. We're going to, in the beginning of April, we do some 3 away days. We go in south of France to work, but also to have fun and all that. And it's really part of being together, I've always some pleasure. And I have a little anecdote, like the lady who is in charge of the French program now. She came from the industry. She was working in the lift industry, something very... And she was fed up and she could not anymore. So she said, okay, I can do this job, a 40% job, because... this is very interesting. And now she told me, okay, I want to develop. I'm going to do 100% with you. And that's for me one of the best rewards to say, okay, means it's not for me, it's for the program. She just believes in it so much that she's ready to work more. So I think this is part of the success.
Absolutely. It's so nice when you have a reason to get up in the morning and it really fuels you.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
super nice.
And I hate to get up in the morning.
You're not a morning person. That's good. Robert, do you have anything you asked when asked before?
I did think that it's like the process and the logistics and everything. It's fascinating. It's a little complicated. It's not as straightforward as it appears. But it's also not, you haven't put together this industrial process of getting things in and out. You basically built a community, an environment where people, can learn and people are proud of what they're doing. And so it's the success is as much visible in the people as it is, in the result of what you're doing. So I think it's really beautiful.
Yeah.
I completely agree. Absolutely. Yeah. I think, and that makes also part of the pleasure of doing that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's very evident when you walk through the workshop. Okay, so we'll end it with a lightning round, and we just ask you a few quick questions, and then you just answer whatever comes to your mind. Okay. So what is the most impactful book you have ever read? Oh, yeah? Sure.
I have very bad memory.
That's okay. Yeah.
Now, I took a few books names.
Okay.
One of the most impactful book I read, and it was when I was maybe 20, 22, I don't know, was Roland Barthes. Roland Barthes is a very famous philosopher, and he wrote a book called Mythologies, and it's all about everyday objects or action. And he made 2-3 pages, philosophical pages about this object. Okay, that was object from the 80s. Some of them don't exist anymore, but still, it's still the same. How some mythical objects or very simple objects. Soap is not tin, but it could have been.
Yeah. Yes.
So that's one of the book that I had a lot, and I read it several times. So that's one of the books. And of course, and there's another one which is much more. It's Amin Malouf. Amin Malouf is a very interesting person because he's Lebanese and French, and he always says is a nomad because he's always a Muslim Arab in France, and he's a Christian white in Lebanon. So and he wrote a lot of books, but some essays, and especially on the problematic of the Middle East. And one is called, I don't have the title, the French title on it is Naufrage des Civilisations, and it's very interesting of the point of view of someone from Lebanon, really having a look on what's happening in the Middle East situation. The book is not recent. It's like 4 or 5 years, so there was not the problematic of now, but it's still exactly talking about the same problem. So I would say this is the main 2 books, and of course I have a lot of others that I put.
Yes. Yeah, that's very good. Thank you. What do you wish you had more time for?
Travel.
Okay.
Travel is that's my passion. It's not very ecological, so the more I travel, the more I try to make soap.
To offset that.
Yeah. No, but I love travel.
Yeah, okay. And something we always ask people, because we have a very strong feeling behind this, but do you believe that one person has the power to impart positive change?
Okay, so I should use, the sentence I used in my TED Talk, and I think now I know that finally it's the Dalai Lama said it, but it comes from an African proverb, and which says, if you think you're too small to have an impact, try to go to sleep with a mosquito in your bedroom. So I think everyone has an impact.
I think so too, and I think that's a very powerful quote for many reasons. But yes, I think one person can certainly make an impact. And what do you hope your impact is on the world?
My impact is very small, but I think I cannot, as I say it, it's like it's a drop in the sea, or it's a brick on the wall. But if the human beings are not able to do that, we don't go anywhere. And I think everything has been built by little bricks, and some men or women have a much bigger impact, but I think everyone has an impact, and mine was also maybe local and in my environment and my people I'm working with, but also maybe my family. And I think my husband and my children see me differently now that they've seen me when I was working with famous artists or museum directors. So I think it's,
That's so nice. Okay. How would people find out more about SapoCycle? Are there ways people can get involved, or if companies get involved? Anything that we can add to this?
Okay, first we have a website where I think it's quite well explained what we do. So everybody can go on SapoCycle.org. But also, of course, we are always looking for support. It can be financial, but can be also communication, can be also if anyone knows someone in a country in Europe who say, okay, I know this person, she would be so happy to develop that in this program. Can be also in another country than the one I said. It can be in Belgium, it can be in Sweden, it can be Austria, anywhere. So we would be very happy, because I think this is part of the development. And of course, companies working in the same industry, they have a certain know-how. We would be very happy to share some part of their know-how. That would be very interesting to speak with people in this cosmetic industry or cleaning product industry. They are not very easy to approach. So yes, this would be a great help.
That's great. And I just think what you're doing is really, it's contributing so much on so many levels to so many different people. So it's been very much a pleasure for us to come here today. So thank you for taking the time, but to being so warm with your welcome and showing us everyone and getting to meet the workers and to finally meet Connie, because we've been in communication with her for so long. So that's been a true pleasure.
Thank you very much for being interested in what we do. And I think it's just really great. And I'm very happy that we can get into this in your program and all this, because it's something also that not so easy, because Connie and me even more than Connie, but we are not really Basler from Basel. So to get to know all the programs or all the whatever, that it's really great to be able to connect with others.
Yeah.
In Basel, but also in Switzerland in general, and that's I miss a bit. That I have to say.
Yeah, and that's something we're really trying to foster and to develop, and particularly when people have really good ideas like SapoCycle and other individuals and companies we've met with and organizations, we really want to shine a light on them because we think it's important. And it's
refreshing.
It's really refreshing, yeah. And it goes back to the statement how one person can come up with an idea, and your idea was soap of all things, and look at what it's created. So I think that's really nice to be able to share the message on that. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
No, that's great.
Yeah,
Thank
you.
We hope you have enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to be awesome and share this podcast with your friends. Click subscribe, rate, and review. Do you have a story to tell? An organization you'd like to tell the world about? We love to hear from you and our global community. So please get in touch with us at reVyven.com. That's reVyven.com. Or send us an email at reVyven.com@gmail.com.